Our next subject is someone who is quite the prodigy himself. To say the least, he has great knowledge of both the sciences and magic. However, something did happen that probably gave him a very interesting turn. Here we have Michael Block, a gifted scientist with a very dark power with them. And fortunately, we do have like a proper digital setting as well. We managed to kind of interface something beforehand, so now we can actually synthesize certain backgrounds too, just to make anybody feel right at home. So let me just get him on board and see what we can do in order to properly acclimate him. And above all else, we do enjoy your company here. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Was the travel a little bit far or not too bumpy? I know dimensional travel can be quite a bit of a hassle, but it kind of varies from person to person.
It was all right. Just takes a little bit of getting used to. Tingles a little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that tingling sensation never kind of goes away.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of like how people just go through like the bends after just trying to climb up from deep waters.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we can start with introductions. You can just introduce yourself to everybody here.
All right. Well, hello everyone. My name is Michael Block. I am a scientist, but also touch a mage here and there as well. A little odd to see the two mixed together, but it's something that I managed to make work sometimes. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
So, what do you mean by sometimes?
Well, like, many things. Sometimes the things they don't work well together and they kind of, you know, react wrongly, explode a little bit.
Hmm. I guess that explains the purple stuff.
A little bit. It's kind of I guess experiment gone wrong, research gone wrong. Yeah.
What were you researching, in fact?
Um it's a I guess in a way I call it what's the right word called? Kind of a almost like an alive kind of form of evil magic that I kind of got too into and now it's kind of calling itself to me
Alive?
a little bit.
Ah. It's not gonna jump out at me or anything like that, right?
Not now.
No.
I think it's fine for now.
Yeah, because I've always heard like horror stories about symbiotic creatures just kind of latching on to other people, but I never thought it'd actually be up close in this kind of circumstance.
It's mostly safe.
Mostly.
It's dormant.
Okay, that's probably the word I'm looking. That's probably the word I want to hear at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want the thing to latch on to me, and then it's gonna cause a whole lot of trouble where I just go on a mad rampage, and yeah, and I guess that's something that probably can be ironed out some way or another, right?
One way or another. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get rid of it.
Well, I'll keep cheering you on for your scientific endeavors.
Thank you.
So, speaking of being a scientist, before you ran into this little corruption problem, what was your overall goal?
Um I'd just say like the general like goal was just really just because originally I was a kind of explorer and then I settled down somewhere and began like, just slowly going from basic to advanced. And I guess the goal was just learn as much as I could.
Hmm. Was there a particular school of research or something that you were studying that you were focusing on?
No, I was just, out in the wild, kind of just doing whatever I could.
Hmm. So it was just basically anything goes, whatever you can pretty much get your hands on. That's pretty much what you would want to kind of study, right?
Yeah.
So nature, biology, all those things
Mhm.
kind of came around as you went, right?
Yeah, basically.
Hmm. So you were pretty much the everywhere man at that point.
Yep.
Were there any kind of snags in your little on the go research or anything that might have been
Um,
a setback for you?
just sometimes you need things from dangerous locations or was from a dangerous creature. And you had to fight for it.
Hmm. And did you also kind of butt heads with like other scientists or other explorers that were doing roughly the same thing, or did you kind of find yourself in a more secluded area?
It was I definitely did butt heads with some people, some people didn't agree with what I was doing, or maybe they wanted what I was trying to collect.
Hmm. Must have been some pretty rare stuff.
Sometimes it can be a bit rare. It's more of just difficult to acquire than it is rare.
Hmm. I guess coming stemming from like the more dangerous creatures or other adversaries that you might come across, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. So, how would you kind of describe the core science of your research then?
The core science.
Yeah, basically, what was like the overarching science that you use to commence your studies and stuff like that?
Um, I'd say it was just more of like technological or like mechanical kind of stuff. Anything that would make life easier for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like why would I want to spend hours waiting for something to, cook up if I could just make something that could cook in seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Not food in particular, because that's more precise, but like just an ingredient maybe.
Hmm. So, I guess would that mean that you have like a knack for like gadgetry or anything of the sort that will be much more convenient if like put into more of a public sphere?
Yeah, basically.
Hmm. Have you ever thought of selling that kind of technology at some point?
I did at one point. Things kind of fell through, so
Well,
I never got a chance to.
like fell through how bad?
Um, End of world bad.
End of all because of a small gadget?
No, just research got out of hand, and I may have ended the world, and I'm somewhere else now.
You ended the world that way?
Um, yeah, a little bit. It involved magic that I mentioned before.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it can get out of hand.
Hmm.
I don't know to this day how I managed to escape.
Yeah, that's a miracle in itself. I mean, I do get the whole idea that like science and magic are practically one and the same under different schools, but
Hmm.
I guess when we experiment with something similar to like how scientists have researched nuclear energy and used it for weapons at some point, it does kind of show a bit of similarity as to like someone finding the perfect magic to throw everything into chaos and stuff like that.
Hmm. It's kind of interesting to think of it, the whole science and magic kind of thing. It was kind of something that like I've discussed with people before.
Hmm.
I think the best way to describe it was science helps you learn how the universe around you works, and magic is like the defying of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's one way of really putting it.
Yeah. Because in a way, when you think of, let's say, starting a fire, you would need materials to heat up and to generate enough uh, friction to create a flame and give it steady oxygen and fuel to keep it going. But with magic, you could create one in the palm of your hand with this spell.
Hmm. And both of them have their own set of rules too, when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And after all, magic doesn't really exist in on itself unless if you have some sort of source or catalyst. Just like how some chemicals have like a catalyst in order to make them have a different reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, it feels like I'm learning a lot more about these kind of sciences on the get go at this point.
Yeah, it's always a learning process.
Yeah. I just only have to have one moment where it just blows up in my face, and eventually.
Yeah, it'll happen eventually
Why'd you say it like that?
because it's a guarantee.
Uh, I guess there's no escaping it then.
Nope.
I mean, it does happen to everyone, even the brightest minds.
Mm-hmm.
So, how'd you go from a scientist to a scientist and mage?
It was interesting because I was also on the same boat of denying the existence of it. But it wasn't until one day that I stumbled upon, like, what was it? It was kind of like I could feel it in the air, like in this like forest. I felt it in the air, but I couldn't pinpoint where it came from. And it wasn't until I stumbled upon like a school of mages that they taught me what it was, and I finally got a grasp of it.
Hmm.
Hmm. And it definitely opened my eyes to a whole new like field to study.
Ah, nice. So, were there any kind of like any scrolls or tomes or anything you have to kind of research through, or did you ever get your hands on anything like magical catalysts?
It definitely started with a they kind of taught me the basics of, you don't really need like some secretive materials, just, as long as you have something that you can conduct magic through, it'll at least start off with the basics. They did have books and stuff that I was able to learn more and help me start conducting my own research.
Hmm.
They did eventually kick me out though.
Kick you off for what exactly?
um I kept going to the forbidden section of the library.
Oh,
Yeah, they weren't happy about that in particular.
I can imagine. But I guess imagination is not really necessary since, yeah.
Hmm.
But did you feel like there was an edge to being a mage with scientific experience?
There definitely was, to because when you stick with only one, you're kind of limited to only what that area can give you. But
Hmm.
being able to master both, it definitely opens up more.
And was there anything in particular that you benefited from this particular dual role?
Um, I'd say it definitely helped with, for example, just making it so that my machines can just run with at least some more simple processes than more complex things, as well as just especially even in fighting other people when they thought they finally had an advantage over me in the technical field, I would just bust out the magic field and I had them running.
Hmm. Like dogs with tails between their legs.
Hmm.
Though eventually you probably had run into like people that were also magic users, right?
There were definitely people who were magic users, but you find yourself in more like fighting more of just one or the other. There weren't many who were interested in doing both, as the two would definitely butt heads against each other.
Hmm.
That was definitely the outlier.
Yeah, though it does feel like there could come a point where you might have like a rival that does do the same thing as you. both
Hmm.
mastering both the sciences and magic as well. They just haven't come around yet.
No, maybe they'll show up one day. Would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be quite a legendary fight.
Hmm.
But speaking of fighting, what kind of fighting style do you have?
I definitely like to. It may sound a little silly, but I definitely liked a lot of sword play.
Oh,
Yeah, growing up, I liked swords a lot, so I just kind of infused that with my own fighting style. But I definitely also use firearms or just magic spells when I can.
mm-hmm. So when you put it that way, have you ever kind of like used enchantments to your weaponry at this point?
I have. It's it's kind of interesting results. Some were definitely favorable. Some I didn't really see much of a benefit.
Hmm. So
I
the
mean, made
results
things
can
shiny, so that's good.
uh so the results do kind of vary.
Hmm.
Hmm. And did you ever have like a preference as far as like what kind of swords or guns they usually use, or it's just anything goes?
I was more of like a short sword type of person. Whatever let me strike fast. But I also mostly like using pistols. Not really one for big, heavy weapons.
Hmm. Oh, so light and fast.
Yeah, there was a time when I once had a sword that could literally shoot beams of light at people.
I want that.
I unfortunately lost it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I left it on original planet world thing. I don't know. I don't know the details of what happened there.
Hmm. Now, I guess if that might be the case, then maybe it does have to do with the corruption that you have accrued.
Yeah, it definitely um involved with that situation.
Hmm. And now, if I can actually ask a little bit further,
Hmm.
that forbidden room, was it always under lock and key, or was it always under heavy guard or watch? How did it go?
It definitely was under like it definitely had guards, like at least in the front door. But as someone who already had like a huge array of like tech with me, I was able to kind of bypass that since they didn't really know how to counter that.
Hmm.
Although of course I did get caught because they had other detections for the books.
Oh, so the moment you practically picked up the book, that's when they knew, hey, it was you.
Yeah. First time they were mad. Next few times there was a lot of fighting.
Hmm.
And then eventually I got kicked out.
And what drew you to this particular book anyway?
Um, I don't know. There was just like it was kind of like the desire, just like what else was there to learn, you know?
Hmm.
And once I found something new, I kind of just kept going for it.
Did you end up feeling like a different person each time you opened that book?
A little bit. It definitely felt like there was like something draining from me every time I held that book.
Any voices inside your head?
A few whispers here and there. Some were enlightening. They did actually aid me. Some not so much. I think the worst time was what was it? I think it felt like as if I couldn't see anything. And I was definitely walking around blind in my lab for like an hour.
Hmm. And was this on the second time or third time you opened the book?
I think I think it was after the third time. After like it was after the first time it was mostly whispers. Second times it's when words started becoming more solid and then third time, that's when things started manifesting.
Mm.
I think there was also a time where I think they called it an Eldritch Guardian that showed up.
Oh no.
It didn't look like it was fully there, like I could see through it, but it definitely still hurt like hell.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, they actually did they give you like a sweet deal? Like if you take this book of mine, you'll be granted with knowledge
Oh no, it's just they
insurmountable.
just show up and immediately attack.
Hmm. So they were just flat out hostile from the jump.
Yes. Hmm.
Oh, that brook has a real big problem.
Yeah, I think I do recall though once there was a time that I actually encountered one that was fully there.
Hmm.
And that's how I knew that it was definitely for sure a Eldritch Guardian.
I'm pretty sure having like a description of what it looked like would probably be bad for any one of us, right?
Um, it was definitely odd. It was like almost like just like a hooded figure,
Hmm.
but it definitely made horrifying noises.
Good. Don't have to worry about mental corruption then.
Yeah. I do recall like I don't know where exactly they came from. I only recall one stumbling upon like a cult of people, I think it was, who
Hmm.
were trying to open a gate for them. I put an end to that, but they definitely summoned some of those guardians to stop me.
And you wouldn't suppose that those particular cultists were the same people that took you in for studies, right?
No, they didn't. You could tell because they were always adorned with red robes and armor.
Hmm.
But the
Interesting.
ones who taught me, they were wearing purple, which was like almost a standard for their study.
Hmm. Interesting. I'm just trying to get a good idea of what this could possibly mean, but I guess since the whole world is pretty much gone at that point, I doubt that would be any
Yeah.
relevant.
Yeah,
But
you could say I'm almost like the sole like carrier of this field of magic now,
hmm
unless someone else managed to escape. But I don't know.
hey, it's never say never in the world of science and magic.
Yeah.
But that does yield some other questions too that maybe we'll just go over somewhere down the line.
Hmm.
So, the corruption,
Yeah.
does it have a name?
Um. I guess like the most common name you could call it is like they just call it taint.
Ain't?
Yeah. I guess because it was just the way it worked in a sense. It would just start in a single point, but then slowly reach out into the environment around it.
So it's more of like an all consuming kind of creature.
Yeah. It was definitely like it was definitely more read of like an evil, unstable form of magic.
Hmm
The interesting thing about it was seeing that before it was contained initially, there was like a town nearby and all the people came in contact with it, and unfortunately all became just almost like puppets, like something was controlling them.
Jeez.
Hmm.
And they looked like little puppets too, or just how did that
Like
look?
just kind of like imagine a person, but then with like purple lines just kind of flowing through their body.
Hmm. That would be a bit of a harrowing sight to see, depending on circumstances.
Hmm.
And that I don't think that many conventional methods were capable of just at least quelling at least one of them.
Yeah, it was definitely a tearing sight to see. Kind of
Hmm
made you wonder What was it like for those people?
Could be anything but good. I can probably pinpoint that.
For sure.
So, since we already came about with how you came across the forbidden knowledge, was there anything that you managed to take from that particular book that you managed to transfer into your sciences?
Um, I can't say that much of it was able to transfer into the sciences, as it was more of things that amplified just magic in general. I think the only thing that I can say that it really affected the most was definitely my sanity.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And would you say it's a bit of a constant struggle on who can claim their mind first?
Um, kind of. It was like almost, it was definitely like a battle of who, like, can you hold your wits against it?
Hmm. Hmm. And I guess it kind of goes back to when I was asking about the whole voices in your head. Has that
Hmm.
has those voices been stronger ever since it took over you?
Um, I'd say they've calmed down for some time. There are times where it kind of comes back the more I dabble with magic again.
Hmm.
I've actually once encountered another world that actually had a similar kind of corruption magic going on.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely kind of scary to see it again. Luckily, it was already contained, but another world was not so very lucky.
So wait, so let me get this straight. You're actually able to travel through different dimensions as well?
Not dimensions, just worlds,
This world.
like different like planets.
Hmm.
Dimensions is a lot harder to do.
Yeah, that usually requires a lot more stuff going on.
Hmm.
But traveling through worlds that easily, and
Hmm.
how is it usually done?
I just have like a little gate that I can like locate planets that I desire to seek out, and it just kind of like leaves a. I have like one portal, like that's the big gate that's in my lab, but then I have like a smaller device that I can deploy to return.
Hmm. That's relatively convenient.
Yeah, it was something that I was researching beforehand, but I'm not sure. I can't really say that it was what I used to escape before. I'm not sure.
So, what kind of side effects have you been mostly experiencing with your corruption?
Um, I'd say like aside from like this constant like I'm like unnerving feeling, it's been mostly stable now. As I mentioned before, the more I dabble in forbidden magic, the more it kind of manifests, like as if it's continuing.
Hmm.
But I've managed to reel it back in.
And was there ever like a fear that maybe at some point it might just come out on its own?
Yeah, I've had it like once just completely take over, and I don't. Luckily, nothing came out of it, but I don't know. It was definitely odd.
Hmm. Hmm. And it hasn't gone further than just it overtaking your body.
No, luckily, I've always worried that it would just like one day just kind of like start spreading to other places, but it seems to be just sticking to me.
Almost like it's looking for something.
Yeah.
Have you like figured out what it could possibly be looking for, or what clues may lead to that?
Not really. I've mostly hit dead ends now that that old world's gone.
Hmm.
The only thing I've managed to find is just kind of ways to combat it, but nothing has yet cured me.
Now, in this particular case, have you been running into any kind of like strange creatures or entities that have been after your corruption?
No, actually. Honestly, if anything, some almost glance at me and fear me.
Hmm.
Probably the appropriate response.
Hmm. But no other humans who probably think, hey, this might be an interesting test subject. We may as well see what he's capable of. No humans like that?
No, some definitely at first give me like almost like, like a cautious look. But then eventually, they figure out that there isn't really anything dangerous, so they kind of just accept me.
Hmm. I think that someone with a lot of scientific curiosity would actually just gun straight for you as like another test subject.
Well, I haven't really run into anyone who's that determined. Could be someone out there, mad scientist.
Possibly. Possibly.
Hmm.
Hmm. Any other strange occurrences?
Um, Nothing really I could say strange. I mean, I'd say meeting interesting people out there has been something.
Hmm. Hmm. Now I'm trying to think.
Hmm.
If there's no group after you, or no entities that have been actively pursuing your corruption powers, does that mean you're actually safe?
Um, Relatively, I'd say safe from outside like sources, but of course there is still the risk of this thing eventually maybe going out of control.
Hmm. So I guess we can actually go back to the whole gadgets thing now that we're
Hmm.
actually at good a good position here. Have you had any like gadgets used to maybe repress this corruption to some degree?
Um, Nothing really had seemed to work. I could only make something that could help monitor it, but in terms of suppression, just no. All just kind of failed.
What about the other way around? Have you been able to use it to like amplify its power without having you being the main catalyst of it?
Um, no, I haven't really done that out of fear that it might spread.
Hmm.
It's something that I'm very, very, very cautious about. There,
Caution.
the only thing I'd say was just noticing that one time it spread way more than I'd like.
Hmm. So in that case, the more you use that power, the more it just pretty much the more it just pretty much takes over.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Maybe I guess it might be a little safe if I just. You can see it kind of spread a little bit more there.
Hmm.
I definitely wouldn't like. That's about as far as it's gone, but still scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's just seeing that at the end of like a very dark night.
Hmm.
I'm surprised it never really just has like a different voice to it too. You're just still the same person even after that.
Yeah, there've almost been like I because it doesn't really change much of me, but sometimes it does give me like almost lapses in my thought process.
Hmm.
Like something else is there.
And has it ever like escaped in like a very normal conversation too, just to kind of play tricks on you?
No, it hasn't. Just in like moments it's solitary.
Hmm. This just doesn't seem like the trickster type, just more direct.
Hmm.
maybe more, I guess, primal would probably be the better way of putting it.
Maybe. It's interesting. It's interesting that it plays almost like a long waiting game.
Hmm. It's just a matter of who just kind of like bows out first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of person, seems like the kind of entity that would love to play chess.
Maybe.
Hmm. Now, I guess this. I hope I'm not putting you in any particular danger, but do you have like a way to showcase this particular power that you have?
Um, I can't really say that it grants me like much of a power.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just the kind of, it's almost just like a thing that you have to worry about more of.
Right. Right. Hmm. Now, I guess the other thing that I have to ask as well is, if the corruption ever had its own form, what would it look like?
Um, I guess the best way to describe its like physical form is like think of a grassy field
Hmm.
and then imagine that there was just a spot of purple
Mm-hmm.
and then slowly the this purple mass would just kind of spread out, sometimes sprouting like purple tendrils out that it mostly just kind of like almost appears almost like vines just slowly spreading around the land.
Hmm. It's just a practical overgrowth of dark energy.
Yeah, eventually it'll like at first it might just stain things a bit purple, but then eventually it'll start like actually decaying the land.
Hmm. Hmm. Almost as if like absorbing whatever essence it could get its hands on.
In a sense, yeah, it's almost like it's hungry.
And the hunger never really stops either,
Nope.
which also begs the question: why have you not been dissociated?
It's it's honestly been something I've been wondering too. As I said, it's mostly seemed dormant. I don't know. Maybe it's because it knows that this is the only thing from the original world it came from they can latch onto.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like maybe it's just a scent, almost like it's just biding its time for something.
Hmm.
Who knows?
I see. Now those goggles of yours. Have you
Hmm.
ever used them to kind of like cover your eyes in the case that someone might suspect something strange?
Well, it's not. I've never really used it for that because aside from you know the eyes, as you can see in my face, even a bit of my skin, kind of hard to hide those.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of suspect something's wrong.
And no matter what clothes you wear, it'll just always seep out somewhere.
Eventually,
Hmm. So it does kind of take its time to kind of influence whatever you have onto you.
yeah.
That sounds pretty inconvenient and probably not good for any kind of fashion sense whatsoever.
No, do you know how hard it is to find things that just at first it looks good outfit, and then eventually just stains with purple?
Yeah. But
So
then
annoying.
yeah, I mean, at this point, you're probably gonna have to wear everything purple.
Yeah, probably.
But even that'll probably just turn into a different shade of purple just to kind of mess with you.
Yeah, bro. The most like it's almost like having just a constant little brother.
Hmm. Hey, hey. Oh, big block, big block. Look what I did to your look what I did to your shirt.
Oh,
Do you like the design?
yes, I like the purple tendrils all over the place.
You're gonna have to deal with it then.
Hmm.
Hmm. I mean, that is one will. That's what. Maybe that's. Maybe we're onto something here.
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe this whole corruption may be just an entity that's just still have yet to grow. That's why it's just
Mm.
constantly consuming everything in its path. But once it got to you, it found something that just reminds you of like an older, maybe a parental role or familial, something close to that.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's just a hypothesis.
Yeah.
But anything's start to break through.
Hmm.
Perhaps might be something out there, maybe some other kind of magic out there that can have actually help suppress this, but maybe in
Maybe.
another world far away from here or whatever.
It's a big universe.
It is.
I'd say the weirdest thing is I've heard people talk of seeing like someone like me out there.
Someone like you?
Yeah, like because they say it's kind of hard to miss the purple like stain on my face.
Mm-hmm.
I've never found out anything from that, but it's kind of weird.
Hmm. Would you say there might be like a counterpart, someone that looks similar to you?
Maybe. Like it's one thing it's not entirely impossible to have almost like a doppelganger, someone out there who just kind of looks like you. But then for them to also have the purple stains, it's almost uncanny.
Mm-hmm. Well, whoever they are and wherever they are, must have a very distinct connection to you and the corruption out there.
Maybe. I'll have to find them one day.
Yeah, it'll be a nice little goose chase, but I guess there may come a few caveats too.
Maybe, yeah.
But that also begs a question: if it ever, if the corruption ever took over your entire body, do you ever go berserk?
Um, I'd say in a sense, yes. Like, but it's not in the kind of berserk that almost one could consider like helpful,
Hmm.
you know? Like, it's not the kind of thing that just amplifies my strength or magic. It's almost like it's almost like as if I just almost like become like a wild creature, some would say.
Mm. So you're just mostly living on like primal instinct and all the other things, right?
Kind of. It's like I just seek out everything to destroy.
Hmm. Hmm. And was there any instance where someone had to kind of like snap you out of your senses, or were you ever in the?
Luck, luckily it hasn't happened in like hasn't happened out there. It's only happened once in an isolated incident, but it was luckily I had something to help. I had like contingencies to contain myself.
Hmm. What kind of contingencies, if you can go into detail?
Kind of like just, complete lockdown of the lab, make sure that I can't leave.
Nothing to like sedate you or anything to kind of calm you down.
No, it just seems like the kind of thing you just kind of have to wait out.
Hmm.
I will say it did leave me with quite a mess I had to clean up.
Oh, that's considerate.
Yeah.
Strange, but considerate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think from whatever footage I could collect from the one incident, it was almost ominous. Like I was just stood there for a moment. Like I was just like stock still, almost observing. before, like, I just somehow managed to create my own purple tendrils that just kind of destroyed the lab.
And you remember all that.
No, I did not recall a single thing from that, like from the whole experience. It was only from the footage that was salvageable.
Hmm. So, in the process of trying to find your cure, what methods have you tried beforehand?
Well, the most common method that was almost like it was almost a surefire way before was this like this kind of like almost pure form of magic. Like while there is just your regular magic that kind of like flowed around the world, there were some places that contain like almost like a cleansing sort of magic. And I've
Hmm.
tried to recreate that to help remove it. Even before, when I was still residing in that original world, I tried to use it to cleanse myself, but nothing to my like progress of it.
Hmm.
Honestly, if anything, sometimes it almost made it worse.
Hmm. Worse in what way?
Almost like as if it was fighting me.
So it's fine to stay alive no matter what.
Hmm.
And this particular cure, if you could actually find it, are you concerned that it may actually go berserk in order to try and stop the whole thing?
Potentially.
Hmm. I guess the last thing I could probably ask is if you do manage to succeed in curing this whole condition, are you going to survive?
Hopefully, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that, you know, latches or has latched to like vital organs or anything. It's more of just it kind of feeds off whatever magical reserves I have going for me.
Hmm. So it's
Who
probably.
knows? Maybe it'll be just the kind of thing like you mentioned, where because I found a cure as like a final failsafe, it'll just end me.
Hmm. And since you did mention that it's not really holding on to any kind of like vitals or anything that would probably evidently cripple you, I guess there is a chance that it's just not really looking to see you die at any point.
No, maybe.
So let me see if we could just run down this whole thing as scientifically as possible.
Hmm.
So the corruption appeared as a malevolent force that was somehow contained in a forbidden book. Yet when it came to you, not only does it lash out on its own using you as a vessel, but it's also keeping you alive in some way, shape, or form that keeps anybody else from trying to approach you. Therefore, maybe there is something that is a hidden link between you
Maybe.
and the corruption. If it's relying on magical reserves, then there must be some sort of specific thing that you may have innately that it wants as long as you're alive.
Maybe. I will say the initial encounter with it was, I'd say the initial encounter was just, it was in of itself just a pure form of just, chaos that was initially contained, not in a book, but just somewhere, like just in some land. It was just contained in a space, prevented from spreading out. But in my desire to research, I may have stolen it.
Stolen it.
Yeah, a little bit. Just kind of borrowed it.
How do you borrow an entity?
Well, because the way that I guess the sources of them, like many sources of magic in that world, they formed as like almost invisible orbs that just kind of like existed. You were able to observe them if you had the right goggles, which is what my goggles were kind of based on. But there were ways to transport them, which is what I did, because it was almost like as if it was like a well of magic that just became corrupted.
Hmm.
So I kind of contained it myself and took it.
I must say, your knack for exploring and research is quite the most interesting one.
Yeah, it's definitely what you could say interesting. It might have brought my own downfall a little bit, but
Kind of.
meh.
Well, think we now know the extremes of exploring a little bit too far ahead now, do
Yes,
we?
an entire planetary destruction.
Yep. Well, at least that planet won't have any kind of house calls in order to make anymore.
No, hopefully.
But hypothetically, if there was like another possible dimension that maybe mirrors that particular planet,
Hmm.
what would you say if I had that particular passage for you?
Um, it would definitely be interesting to like explore that again. There was another world that I once encountered that had the same research, but unfortunately met the same fate.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was one that was just completely overrun from the get go. So I don't know. Maybe it might be interesting to explore another like world that was basically similar.
Hmm. So now then, that's no. Because now, if we can find ways in order to utilize whatever potential the corruption may have to something more of a benefit, maybe, just maybe a way to just maybe reverse engineer it or just
Um,
do something.
I don't know. It's almost like it's kind of hard to think of reverse engineering it. It's almost like I guess almost one way to almost think about it is just it's more of just a byproduct that almost has no really use. Like think of it as like, radiation. It's a byproduct of nuclear fuel,
Hmm.
but there really is no added benefit to the extra radiation. It's
Hmm.
just something that we have to deal with, and if it's not properly contained, could go very poorly for everyone.
Right. And if there's a huge amount of it, that could practically turn everything upside down.
Hmm.
Well, I did my dark road approach there into seeing what we could do about the whole corruption thing, but I guess that's a little story that we're gonna have to put a pin on somewhere down the line.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll find the cure.
One day. And we just gotta remain hopeful.
Hmm.
Still though, is it the corruption that came up with that sick background design that you have?
Um, no, it was just kind of something that I came up with.
Ah, nice. I thought the thing might actually have a mind of its own that just probably suggest some ideas, but I guess that's a little bit too far ahead.
Would be cool if he gave me more artistic powers.
I mean, anybody kind of wishes for that, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it could probably be its own kind of help too,
Hmm.
especially doing the lefts. But yeah, so I think we've exhausted as many questions as we could for here. So I guess we can leave the questions open for our audience to see what they got. So, anybody in the chat, or if you have anybody that's been using the hashtag, that'll be your time to throw some nice little questions to Mr. Block. I mean, Dr. Block over here. If you have any.
Anybody got anything?
Why are you evil?
Why am I evil? I don't know. It comes naturally.
It comes in. Really?
Yeah, a little bit. You know.
I mean, you didn't destroy the planet on your own, did you?
Maybe.
Maybe. I'm trying to clear your name, man. It's not helping. It's not helping, but I guess if we're admitting to planetary destruction by proxy, then I guess. I guess. Okay, from Seiko. Have you seen a metal man floating around in space?
Um, Maybe. I've seen a lot of just random things floating out in space. I wouldn't. Maybe I think I do recall seeing almost like a humanoid figure just kind of floating out there, but I never really thought much of it.
Hmm.
Hopefully, it's not something I'm supposed to be concerned about, right?
I hope so too. She is practically looking for that thing.
Damn, we lost a mobile suit. Oh wait, that was a mobile suit. Hey yo, hey, where did I see that thing?
If we can probably just pinpoint its location and try to get it back as soon as possible
Oh,
for
we're
it
getting it
doesn't.
back.
I don't know.
Hold on. Let me try to find it real quick.
Hey, where are you going, man?
Nowhere. Nowhere. Don't worry about it.
I thought you were just gonna make a run for it. We have a captive audience here. You wouldn't leave the audience hanging out, would you?
No, you're right. I
Yeah.
can find that thing later.
Yeah, I guess we can just devote a little bit of time and research into that, seeing if we can just pull it back.
Yeah, give it back is the right word.
Yeah, yeah, give it back, give it back. It's not like anybody's gonna use it for some nefarious reason now, are we? Are we?
No promises.
Now, am I speaking to Michael or the corrupted Michael at this point?
It's just Michael.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making absolute sure. I mean, as much as it would be cool to speak with the corrupted version, it still does have its fair share of issues there too.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Any
I
other
don't know. Would you
questions?
like to speak to him?
Oh yeah, that would be pretty interesting to have.
Okay. Hello.
Hello. Is this the properly corrupted Michael?
Yes.
Why are you evil?
'Cause why not?
That's just for the fun of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you think too much of going one way or the other, sometimes you see too much of, almost good. Why not explore the evil more?
Hmm.
Evil's relative.
Yeah, Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, there's some things where it may be necessary, but when we're really considering the methods, we gotta have to draw a line somewhere.
Hmm, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, when you draw a line, you limit yourself.
That is true, especially when someone does kind of step over the line as well. That means if you want to do the things that you want to do, then just do it anyway.
Yeah,
How do you take your coffee usually?
I don't drink coffee.
Oh,
Neither
that.
does regular Michael.
Uh, yeah, so you're much more of a tea person.
We're not really particular in tea either.
Then what do you have to in order to start the day?
Mm, water?
It's water.
Yeah. Although I guess also the best way to describe it, as a great man once said, my body is a temple that only accepts unhealthy foods and soft drinks.
Who who said that? Was that you? Was that
No, it was just an interesting person I met once.
uh-huh. You I uh uh okay, now I can actually feel the influence just really. Excuse me for a moment.
All right.
Okay. Since we are dealing with a corrupted being, I think we might as well just have to limit this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Influence is just getting a little bit stronger, but we have to kind of suppress this a little bit more.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little countermeasure put in place.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm starting to regret this fully.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, nothing to worry about one bit. But why not? We might as well just have some fun anyway.
Yeah.
We could see it in another kind of color, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? Maybe it is for the best. Why not just go all the full way? Just embrace this corruption as much as we can.
Of course.
If I did not have any lick of morality in my bone and my body, I'm not gonna let that happen. Think that's gonna be the case? I don't think so.
Hmm. Well, unfortunately for me, it seems my time is up. So I'll give you back regular Michael.
Please do.
Okay, what happened?
Something regretful.
Okay, well, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that thing's influence is pretty strong, but I must say, you have the biggest brain and strength.
Oh,
No,
you think so?
yeah. Wait, I'm just trying to. My head's been kind of scrambled thanks to the damn corruption, but the words that I'm looking for is there. I'm pretty sure it's there. But how are you able to surrender control that easily in that way?
Hmm?
Never mind. Never mind. It's just pretty interesting to actually see someone actually just switch at a flip of a coin from one personality to the next.
Well, It's only like a slight difference, I'd say. At the very least, it's not like just fully letting out the whole corruption.
Hmm, that could be a problem, but
If yeah,
yeah,
if it was a full corruption, I'd say you better shut this down.
yeah, yep. Thank God I expect injustice, not intemperance. And you're free to ignore this particular question overall. I'm pretty sure you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we already know someone that knows more than enough about that, so
Yes.
yeah. But if you wanted to answer that, well, I'm pretty sure that would have been an answer for corrupted Michael to do, but
I think we can both agree on this part. Not into it.
both you and the corrupted one.
Yes.
Okay. Just putting that on the record then.
Yes.
All right. Any further questions? Any further questions for anybody to throw along to Dr. Block? Any takers? Interdimensional traveler is that full? I'm not a traveler, and it's not an entity that was the cause of it either. Okay, we got another one from Rush.
Uh-huh.
How is it working for DJ Octavio?
Um, it sucked a lot.
Who is DJ Octavio?
Um, kind of I guess the best way to put it is a really, really angry dude who hypnotized quite a lot of people with music to do his bidding.
Hmm. Was he like some sort of villain they ran across?
Yeah, it's just he kind of declared war on some people, and that was his only way of gaining troops.
Through music.
Yes,
Hmm.
it wasn't very good music.
Was it country music?
You no, it wasn't country music. Luckily,
Shit.
if it was, then I wouldn't be standing here. Let's be honest.
No, that is true. Then what was it?
It was just like some I don't know, like I guess like some techno music,
Hmm.
evil synth.
It probably has like that Carpenter Brooder Perturbator music.
Yeah, although when that plan failed, then he just started making straight up hypnotizing goggles.
Uh, the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever so tried and true hypno goggles.
Yeah, luckily someone beat him, so I was able to run.
Yeah. Wait, you didn't take him down?
No, that was someone else completely.
Oh shit.
Someone else did it and I just ran. It's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Hmm.
Goodbye, world. Just leaving.
And was this at a particular planet that you visited that DJ Octavia was there, or?
It was just like one. Yeah, it was just like on one specific world, like that he was on.
Mm-hmm.
It was an odd world, There was a lot of like the water was like seems to have risen really high, and there was a lot of cephalopod based creatures roaming.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. So it sounds like you had a content above or below water at this point.
Above.
Hmm.
For some reason, they seem to have actually evolved in a way that makes them wary of water.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Well,
kind of odd.
I've never imagined something like a cephalopod being afraid of water.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like they dissolved in it.
Hmm. That'd be a sad way to go, but to that bozo, if anything. Any more questions? Any more? Going once. Going twice. All right. And that's it.
Oh,
Thank you, Michael, for sticking around for the whole entire interview of In Character Universe.
thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. I do have one other question.
Mm-hmm.
One final question. Have you ever
And that would be?
have you ever experimented with cloning by any chance?
I did once, but unfortunately, that plan, there was an incident.
An incident.
Yeah, I lost all my research in the process. Um, Something odd came out of it.
Why are you looking that way?
Hmm?
You're looking at a completely different direction.
Nothing.
Now I'm curious. What is this thing that you've managed to create?
Okay, you know what? I'll get them. Give me a second.
Okay. I don't know what it could be. Could be some sort of bioweapon, or it could be something a lot more dangerous. It could possibly be. Oh, oh. So you're the clone.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, I have so many questions for Michael at this point.
I have nothing to answer. All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah. How did this happen?
Um, I don't know. I was working the cloning machine. I spilled my drink all over it. It blew up, and all that was left was that.
Hmm. Was that drink soda by any chance?
Yes.
That explains a lot of things. That explains a lot of things, and yet it just gives me so many more questions as far as that goes.
Yeah, unfortunately, um, it's kind of something I kind of had to deal with now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of odd having a female version of yourself hang around on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So if I make an accidental creation of my own as well, uh, 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 no, I'm just thinking out loud a little bit too much, but eventually my no. Maybe I have some point. No, just kind of spitballing things. You know what? Uh, I think it's a good time to end the interview right here and just go on with our merry nights and just have a wonderful time and just all that good stuff. That's how I plan on having a call on my own as well, right?
I finally might hear word of a second you out there.
Whatever can you possibly mean? Whatever can you possibly mean? Oh, this is just fun. This is just fun. But we'll just call it right here.
All right.
Thanks again, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. But I might actually get some ideas for the other thing at this point. But who knows? Who knows? Just maybe I need to find some corruption magic as well and see where that goes and takes me and experiment from there too and see if that leads to some interesting results.
Good luck with that. Just don't let it destroy your whole world.
I'll try not to.
Hmm.
I'll try not to.
Right.
Peace. All right. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, also, do you have anything that you have planned later on for the future?
Nothing completely planned out. I'd say the only thing is, I found someone out there who could potentially make me a new outfit. Hopefully, this one doesn't get completely destroyed
Destroyed.
by, or at least, ruined.
Hmm. Hmm.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe I'm overdue for a haircut too.
Hey, that'll be nice. Something a little bit more prim and proper.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there might be some people that might like the messy hair of a scientist. Who knows?
That's true.
That's all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going on long enough, though.
Yeah.
All right.